Welcome everybody back to Boost in Motion, guys, and today we're going to talk about full downpipes, but necessarily we're talking about full catted downpipes. This is going to be for the VR30 platform. But before I get into the video, guys, please watch some of my videos, watch some other of my content. If you do enjoy those content, please hit the subscribe button with the bell notification and hit all. Otherwise than that, guys, let's get into the video. Alright guys, so in my previous videos I've stated don't get full downpipes with our VR30 turbos. Pretty much majority of the manufacturers that are coming out nowadays, they put very small turbos on their turbo engines, right? And these turbos spin really fast and spool up relatively quick. Now, of course, we all know that removing back pressure allows our turbos to spool up quicker. But with these turbos being so small, their revolutions per minute increase substantially. So even on our cars, it can increase from 250,000, 275, even 300,000 RPM. This is just pretty much how fast the turbines spin, right? And the faster they go, you take away the longevity life out of the turbos. So that's one of the reasons why I stated do not get full downpipes, because it's very hard for the tuners, as they stated, to control how fast these turbos spin, because we have electronic wastegates and they can only open the butt so fast and they can only alleviate but so much exhaust gases in a certain period of time. So a lot of people would run into boost spikes or any other turbo surging that can cause or take away pretty much cause catastrophic failure to the turbos. This hasn't really happened to a lot of people, but it can still happen because you want prolonged longevity. Now, one of the solutions a lot of companies have come out with is putting catalytic, going with a wider downpipe. That's one, so 2.5 inch to 3 inch downpipes. But also they added catalytic material. This is pretty much the material that's used to pretty much break up the hydrocarbons and exhaust gases so that it can come out and it won't kill us and it can save the earth. We already know this, all right? But now a lot of companies have come out with different products. But recently AMS came out with their version of a pretty much high flow catted full downpipe, and people are losing their mind and people are like, this is a really expensive product. But people forgot that there's other products out here. So pretty much in this video I just want to give like a quick overlay of the ones that are on the market and just compare them and see which one's the best buy. I'm all for the full downpipes that are catted. I'm not all for the full downpipes that are not catted. So let's get into the video and let's start with AMS number one. Thank you guys, let's go. Alright guys, so let's start with this. I believe that AMS and a few other companies have some of the best quality products. Their welds are just so good, like sometimes it looks like jewels. And I really love that they always have like a high performing product that just looks great. And usually fitment and installation is relatively easy based on however they do the construction. But anyways, alright, so let's get into the horsepower gains. But I actually want to talk a bit more about the construction of these catalytic converters, because through my own research, it's actually pretty cool. Now, if you take a look, it says it has a 49 state high quality GSI catalytic converter rating, right? This is pretty much a rating where these catalytic converters could be used in 49 states except California and pass smog and EPA approval ratings and everything like that, which is pretty freaking cool. But also on top of that, not a lot of people know that this low downpipe uses an 800 cell catalytic converter. Now, some people don't know what cells are, so sometimes you may see 200 to 1,000 cell. Now, the lower number, 200, 300, is actually less restrictive to your exhaust flow. Pretty much per square inch, there'll be a certain amount of opening or passages in the cell material, right? The catalytic material. And as the number increases, such as 400, 600, 800 cell, there's actually more passages, but then they get smaller. So your exhaust actually gets more restrictive. Now, with GSI catalytic converters, and especially 800 cell, yes, it is rated up to 800 horsepower per catalytic converter. But also on top of that, its construction doesn't use basic ceramic. It's actually more of a stainless steel brass material, which is really freaking dope. And I believe that these guys are using the best high quality catalytic converters that are on the market. But let's continue. Alright guys, so as a quick disclaimer, I want to let you guys know that I'm no way affiliated with any of these companies in this video. A lot of this information is public domain, and you guys can access it and compare and contrast as you would like. But I just want to give you guys a quick understanding on what a dynograph is and some of the gains AMS had gained over their lower downpipes versus full catted downpipes. Now, I don't have any diagrams or seen any diagrams of non-catted full downpipes versus catted, so I don't want to have you guys have a confusion here, okay? Anyway, let's get into the video. So some of you guys love torque. I don't really pay attention to torque. Torque is really good from getting from point A to point B relatively quick. It helps you 60 foot and everything like that. But to me, wheel horsepower is everything, because to me, wheel horsepower wins roll racing and trap speeds. So based on their tune with their full catted downpipes, you can see there's a gain from right around 3,000 RPM all the way to red line. The red line is definitely increasing over the blue line. It looks like on average maybe 8 to 10 horsepower, but it really starts to separate across the delta from around 5,000 RPM. Now, for guys who know that they do roll racing on our cars, 5,000 to 7,000 is where we either break it or we win, pretty much. And you can see that the difference from, 435 to 455 on tuning the full downpipes. Sorry guys, so getting a little tongue twisted there. And there's definitely, it holds consistently all the way to about red line. This is a great increase, but do I necessarily think it is definitely worth it? Well, at the price of being about $1,700, repeat, $1,700 for these full downpipes, and how it's not that easy to install full downpipes, we'll have to do a more of a comparison with competing other brands. So let's get to those parts. All right, coming in on as the second one that we want to talk about is fast intentions. Now guys, fast intentions have been around for quite a while, definitely in the Nissan Infiniti community, but people don't know that these full catted downpipes have been out for quite a long time, but no one really batted an eye or cared about it, because, you know, fast intention doesn't make as accessible products, or, you know, there's usually a long waiting list to get a lot of their products. But their design is actually very similar to, or AMS's design is very similar to fast intentions. Once again, they're both using high quality metal. They definitely have some great welds, and they're both actually using GESI catless converters again. So yes, you're still getting a quality product. But here's the funny thing about it: both of these catalyst to converters, full downpipes, are $1,700. Yes, AMS and fast intention have matched each other on the price of their products. So in this case, you just have to pick your poison. You have to pick which one you like the most. Otherwise than that, the gains are going to be very similar. They also use a 3-inch, repeat, they also use a 3-inch full downpipe too. So yeah, I don't really see much of a difference in them. Both ways, guys, both of these products are going to still give you right around the same gains, because remember, the gains are based on the tuner and fuel. It's not based on necessarily the construction of the part itself. So let's get to the next product. All right, guys, so now moving on to the third brand from Z1 Motorsports. Once again, this is another brand that makes a lot of products for the Nissan and Infiniti world, so you got to support these guys. But once again, they make their own full 3-inch catted full downpipes. Once again, they have great craftsmanship. And here's a funny thing: these last three brands all use T304 stainless steel. Now, just to give a brief overview on 304 stainless steel, pretty much it's affordable stainless steel that can be bent, can go through heat cycling, and pretty much can last the test of time against corrosion, which is really good. And these last three brands have a lot of that. You ever notice that there's other brands over here that might use a 400 series stainless steel? With those stainless steels, they're cheaper. They can't really heat cycle that well, and they're more prone to crack, bending, and rusting over time. So that just gives you a quick overview on T304 versus T49 or 416. And even T316 is used too also, but not really so much when it comes to anything that deals with an excessive amount of heat, such as exhaust parts on the car. But otherwise than that, let's continue. Now, comparing the cell count, like I told you guys, the higher the number, the more restrictive, but the better for the 49 states to pretty much approve you for smog or any EPA standards, whatever the case might be. So for the Z1 Motorsports, they actually use a 200 cell. Now, I don't know if this will be approved by the EPA, but I realize that the higher the cell count, the more likely you'll be able to pass specific emissions depending on what state you're in, except for California, because you know California is really strict. So 200 cell count is actually the highest flowing catalytic converter out there, but it isn't necessarily the highest quality. I don't know if they're using a ceramic ceramic catalytic converter, or they may be using a stainless steel with brass or whatever the thing might be. But at the end of the day, this will be more of the lowest grade, but it's going to yield the most performance, with the assumption that it will yield the most performance because it has the less amount of cell counts. Okay, so but there's something that Z1 Motorsports does that the other two fast intentions AMS didn't do. They actually include how much pounds of reduction you gain, and I assume this is per side. So if the stock is 29 pounds per side, I assume, then they're saying that you can lower it by another almost 15 pounds, 14 pounds. That's actually great. If that's really the weight savings per side, you're lowering your car's weight at least by 30 pounds. That's pretty dope. But let's continue to the last full downpipe. Alright guys, so the last one's going to be AFE, twisted full downpipes. These are catted. And I'm just a bit confused why they put the material, the cat material, two different spots on the full downpipes. Because you can see one where it's right off the lip with V-band, and the next one is maybe like 3 or 4 inches down the actual slope of the downpipe. So I'm a bit confused by that. Also, they don't use the J bug or J welds. This is pretty much the bug that allows the sensor to not bump or hit into anything when you screw it in. They just have the 2 outlets there. So I'm a bit confused about that too. But maybe they are relocating it where when you put in the oxygen sensors, it doesn't bump into anything. That's what I'm assuming. But otherwise than that, I do like the look of it. Yes, they use 304 steel, stainless steel, which is pretty great. Once again, this is 3-inch also. But I must sit there and say this. After looking at all the pricing, AFE has about the cheapest pricing. I've seen it here for about $8.99. So yes, about $8.99. Not too many people I've known. I don't know anybody who has these brands. So if you do have this brand, please comment below and let the world know about the fitment of these full downpipes. But once again, just want to do a quick compilation of everything. Let me just give you guys one more recap. And before I finish, guys, these full downpipes catted are about $1,000. So they're about $600 to $700 cheaper than the last 2 brands. So I'm not gonna lie, this is actually a good deal, but they probably save a lot on production costs by going with a more flowing and cheaper catalytic converter. But let's go to the next one. Alright guys, so now that you've seen all the different brands of full catted downpipes, so you guys need to take account for a few things. Number 1, installation costs. It's going to be a bit more expensive to install full downpipes because it's just more work involved, more labor. That's number 1. Number 2 is, well, remember, it is more expensive, but is that extra added cost and labor worth the 10 to 20 wheel horsepower? This all depends on your tuner. Now, if you are the type of person that wants to increment everything, which I'm perfectly fine with, like let's say for instance you get full catted downpipes, you better get a 3-inch exhaust. I mean, some people say it's 2.5 inch could suffice, but no, get a 3-inch exhaust. Make sure you get the proper intakes and go out there and get the best possible tune for this car. People who have the most proven results, you know, at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, this stuff adds up. It's just like some people ask me, should I get a lightweight drive shaft? I'm saying, if you really want to, but if you're the type of person that says, you know what, I'm putting out 500 pounds of torque, and I don't want to cause any damage to my carrier barrier or my drive shaft over time, yes, you should swap to a lighter drive shaft. And also, stuff like that allows you to regain some of the wheel horsepower you lose through the drivetrain. So all these little increment modifications definitely do add up over time. So for me to just quickly condense everything, just taking everything into account, which one should I recommend? And to be honest, I see that they all use the same type of steel. I see that all of them have really good construction, except for the AFE. I'm not really a fan of how that looks, so I would actually stay away from the AFE. Sorry, AFE, if you're watching. I'm just saying, like, I don't like how how it looks, and it's the cheapest. It's number 1. Some people don't like me being cheap, but You can't go wrong with that Z1 Motorsports. I really like the price of it. And depending on what state you're in, you're not going to really have any issues with the 200 cell. Especially here in New York, it's not going to be no issue. But if you want the best cream of the crop, it would have to be between the fast intentions and the AMS, because it just depends on who can actually get it to you first. Fast intentions usually takes forever to pretty much make these parts and send them. You'll have to wait a large amount of weeks. I don't know if AMS is going to have these fully in stock. So with both of those, you can't go wrong with one or two of them. Just who can ever get you the product first. But otherwise than that, guys, I appreciate you guys very much. And to all my new subscribers, I want to say thank you. Thank you for joining the channel. Watch some other of my videos. If you have any questions, you can send me DMs at Instagram at boostinmotion.com and Facebook at boostinmotion. Anybody else who has any business inquiries, or just if you want to chop it up a little bit, you can also send me a message at boostinmotion@gmail.com. Otherwise than that, guys, I appreciate your time and you took to watch this video. You guys have a good morning, good afternoon, good night. Thank you. You have a good day.